been a minute since my first podcast, and I just have been trying to really narrow down a niche and what to discuss. And I saw on my memories that last month, like 9 years ago to the date, is when I left to study abroad for Australia, which was really kind of like the catalyst of my anxiety journey. And I wanted to cover that today. And it sounds so cliche to like cover anxiety on a podcast. Like, what makes me so great that I think that you're going to sit here and listen to me and like my journey, but I would be so happy if you listened and you felt a little bit less alone, or you were like, oh my God, that happened to me too. Like, I just, it is kind of cringy and embarrassing to like put yourself on blast like this. So I'm just trying to lean into it and like have fun. And I know some of the topics like that we're going to be discussing might be a little bit like heavy and whatever, but I do just like to like laugh and like. So over like the last decade, I've experienced my roller coaster of anxiety, and not just the oh my God, I'm so stressed out kind of anxiety, like the kind of anxiety that takes over your whole body and hijacks your brain and makes you question your whole reality and makes you think, am I ever going to be normal again? Like, yeah. So a little bit about me in my younger years. I always was homesick. I was terrified of getting in trouble. Like hyper vigilant might be a good word for that. Just like very, could never be in the moment. And that's kind of still how I am right now. Like in fourth grade, I remember going to Las Vegas with my aunt. I was 9 to go see my cousin in Circus Olay, and I had brought a journal with me because I didn't go with my mom or any of my family, just my aunt. And in every journal entry, I would recap the day and end it with, I cried today, I'm so homesick. But what helped me cope during those times was being mad busy, like dance, cheerleading, being booked and busy kind of didn't really leave me much time to feel anything. And that's the way I liked it. And it kind of made me hold a lot of things in that came out later on, like in my current life. By the time I got to college, the whole booked and busy thing was basically my brand. I worked at a bagel shop. I would go in there at 7 a.m. and then go straight to classes at 11, then sorority events. I was the recruitment chair. I was the social media chair. I was the editor of the entertainment section of the school newspaper. Literally just no space at all to even be me. This is a popular story. Some of you might know this one. Sophomore year, I applied to study abroad, and initially I really wanted to go to Italy. Do you see how I'm holding this microphone right now? Initially, I really wanted to go to Italy, but my best friend at the time was like, listen, we can go to Italy whenever. Like, when are we ever going to go to Australia? And she had a good point, and she still has a good point. Like, I don't think I would ever make it to Australia. So I'm so thankful that I went. But yes, she got me on board real quick. And of course, I made it my whole identity. I counted down the days. We left July 19th, and we were supposed to come home around Thanksgiving. And I made it 101 days, I think out of 170. And I cried every single day, like no joke. Kicker was I was just so busy and like not able to like really sit with my feelings about how moving to another country like would affect me. That it didn't hit me till I got on the plane, and then I got to another country where my life wasn't so go go go, where I didn't have all these distractions, where I just really crumbled and I hated myself for it. I decided to leave Australia in the middle of the night. I literally, boots on the ground, fled the scene, packed my suitcase in the middle of the night without telling any of my roommates, which is really, it's a really crappy thing to do. I'm so sorry. Um, and staying there felt scary, leaving felt scary. It's kind of like you're damned if you do or damned if you don't. I thought that coming home would fix me, but I just came home and I cried every day. I would cry in the shower, I cried at work, I thought I was broken. I got a little bit of an antidepressant and I was back in bed. Over to 2019, 2021. Those years were really challenging. They were really happy because a lot of things happened. Like I got engaged, like, um, moved in with my husband, at the time was my fiance for the first time. So many like new and exciting changes, but also the pandemic, but even worse, um, we lost so many people in such a short amount of time. Um, Nick, my husband's mom, passed away. My father-in-law's girlfriend passed away. Two really close friends, both from cancer. And then um, the biggest one of all, of course, to me, was my grandpa in March of 2021. It was like every time we stood up, we got knocked down again. But that avalanche of grief was coming for me big time. That's what we called the big scary time. And it was scary because at the time I was suppressing like a lot of sadness and grief. And I just thought if I wasn't crying or if I didn't feel like an emptiness in me, then I was okay. So looking back, that's when I learned that grief doesn't always look like sadness. Sometimes it comes out as fear. For me, it turned into a genuine paralyzing fear of death and dying. Every ache in my body, every flutter in my chest. While I was dying, I bought an oxygen finger thingy that I kept in my purse. I bought a portable blood pressure machine. I literally sleep deprived myself because I was terrified of passing away in my sleep. I developed severe acid reflux. I convinced myself all of this was proof that I was dying too. And the acid reflux got so bad, I got an endoscopy, and um, it was so bad because every time I would leave the house, I would vomit or I would dry heave. Like, imagine trying to do everyday things like go to work or go to the grocery store and your body just literally betrays you. I was in full blown panic literally all the time. If I was in the car, I'd have to drive and pull over and like dry heave or actually get myself to throw up and then turn around and drive home. I was really trying and I was like, what is going on with me? I'm definitely dying. So that's when I was like, okay, maybe I'll see a therapist. Like when I got put on antidepressants when I went to Australia, I just went to like a general doctor and she was like, girlie, you're sad. Like, here, take this. So I was like, let me do this, actual therapy. Um, so I went on with my therapist for the first time ever, and it was so like nerve-wracking. Like, okay, what do you want to know about me? Like, my parents got divorced, like I'm fine. So I just kind of walked her through like my life events and what's been going on. And then she sat there and then she said, your grandpa passed away? And I was like, yeah. And she was like, what's the one thing you missed most about him? And it was on Zoom, and I just hysterically cried for the rest of the session. And wow, I had no idea that I had been storing all that hurt for so long. And that's what kind of made it click to me that, okay, I need to work on this. It only got worse before it got better. Shaking, heart racing, overthinking, um, checking my pulse over and over and over again. Um, yeah, I was desperate to heal, and heal fast because my wedding was coming up, and the stress of a wedding obviously doesn't help. I would drive myself to the ER, like in private. I called the ambulance so many times to like my apartment, and I would be like, "Can you come and check on me and don't turn the lights on because I don't want anybody to know." Like I knew what I was doing, and I hated myself for it. But part was, I wasn't alone. I had my husband, my parents, my friends. All of them were cheering me on. But yeah, I tried everything: therapists, medications, journaling. Like, I think I even signed up to like get like a private nutritionist. I was really trying to make all the life changes at once, like desperate. Like times like where I'd hype myself up, get in the car, start driving somewhere, and then turn right back around because either I couldn't stop dry heaving or I just was like, no one's gonna want to hang out with me like this. I'm gonna go there and I'm not gonna give like my best me and I'm gonna go home and sulk about it. So I probably just shouldn't go at all. I had such patient friends. Like, I know how annoying it is, like being on my side of things, and how annoying it is, like to be on the receiving end of it. Like, nobody wants a flaky, sad friend. I started developing patience with myself. I was like, okay, like let me just try. And that's what kind of saved me was the patience and reminding myself I didn't need to go from like 0 to 100. Like even if I went from 0 to 10, that was a hell of a whole lot better than I had been. Um, so patience, persistence, and movement were my key themes. And when I say movement, I'm not talking about working out because I did not even have the discipline or like the want to even like move my body in that way. I just literally mean like getting up, moving your feet and walking out the door and just trying. Like I do have like diagnosed agoraphobia, which is like a fear of people and places. So much think I have that anymore. But it definitely does creep up on me. Yeah, that was the medicine, just the movement of my feet, just the turning point of deciding to go out the door. I remember the first time I went to a restaurant. Restaurants were really really hard for me to go out to, and I went out for lunch with my college roommate Sydney, and I had to probably take like 3 walks outside. But she was so good. She did not like if we wanted to leave, like we would leave, but she just was like, "You have to sit with it, Nicole. You have to sit with it, and it will pass." And I'm just so thankful that like I I had friends with like that wit and that smart about them to like help me through like what I needed. I thought of something really simple and beautiful as I was like recounting these events for this episode, and I spent a lot of the last like maybe 5 years like staying inside and kind of tucking myself away, waiting for myself to feel better. But like I realized you don't need to feel better before you go outside or make a move. You have to go you you have to go outside in order to feel better. And last episode I touched upon how I lost my job. So taking the summer to like kind of self-discover has been a blessing, but also like challenging because I kind of realized like I don't really know what makes me happy anymore after like being taken away from the day-to-day routine. And it feels exhausting, like not doing anything meaningful. And I learned that like when I got my job taken away from me. And I know we all get in slumps. And to quote the great Dr. Seuss, when you're stuck in a slump, you're not in for much fun because unslumping yourself is not easily done. So basically, what I'm trying to say is if you're like me, you think you're exhausted from doing too much, but you're not. You're exhausted because so much of what you're doing, like, doesn't matter to you anymore. You're not tired. You're hungry. You're hungry for meaning, for connection, for spark, something that like makes you feel alive. And I want you to think about that. Like, are you going through the motions or um like do you feel exhausted but like you feel like you're not doing anything? Mention is healing doesn't start with rest. Rest is good, but sometimes it's just avoidance, and I struggle with this too. Circling back to that thing I mentioned before, healing starts with that first movement, taking that one step, opening the door. And lastly, I learned that independence isn't always an asset. When you get too good at being independent, it stops being strength and starts being survival to the point where it only hurts you. Like survival's not living. Living means connection, opening up to others, opening up like into yourself and really dissecting your feelings and your emotions. And it's hard and it's scary because I suppressed mine for so long because who wants to, who wants to cry, who wants to be in those moods, but like you have to. Um, and lastly, you're not unmotivated. You just need to give your life meaning again. Um, Motivation follows meaning, spark follows curiosity, and joy follows connection. So to tie like everything together, anxiety sucks and isolating is easy. So meet yourself in the middle and make that first move. So, if you're anything like me and you've been like feeling tired or exhausted lately, or like you're not really finishing anything or amounting to anything that you like wanted for yourself, um, that's your sign to come back to the things that make you feel like you again. And it's easier said than done, but like, make that move, bestie. You got this. So, my anxiety is not completely gone. I had really bad anxiety last night, actually, and it sucks. But I never thought I'd feel normal again. And I think this is the new normal, being able to realize, like, hey, that's anxiety and it sucks, but it's going to pass and we're going to sit through it. And I've come a long way and I'm proud of myself. The stories that I've told you today on this podcast do not like even cover it. I have like the best anxiety story. Like now I laugh about it, but my mom is always like, we're taking this to the grave. So the anxiety stories like I covered today, like I bet you're listening, like, oh my God, like such a like white girl, like basic like problems. Like you're not even struggling. And that's fine. I don't need you to think I am. That's not the point of this. But I've hit like the absolute rock bottom before. I am so probably going to accidentally overshare like way too much. But anyway, we got married on Saturday in Las Vegas and our flight was Monday morning. That Sunday between my husband and I, we were exhausted. We spent the whole day in bed. We wake up Monday morning and I'm just not feeling well, but like I know that it's not because like I'm hungover or anything like that. I just feel this impending doom. I don't want to get on the airplane. Um, and I am dry heaving, I'm throwing up, but at this point, that's just Nicole. So everyone's just like, get on your flight. Nick and I had a different flight than my parents. So we go to the airport and we check in, and Nick checks a bag of our wedding gifts for underneath the plane. I didn't know that at the time, but so we go to get on the plane and I'm just like not feeling it. I went to the bathroom. I made myself throw up again, not feeling it. Um, we board the plane and I'm looking around and I'm like, yep, not going to be able to do this. They're making the announcement. They're closing the doors. And at that point, I'm like, it's now or never. I stand up and I'm like, you have to let me off this plane. I was like that girl in that one viral TikTok video, like that mother effer's not real. Yep, that was me. And I'm so happy that nobody had a camera. I am making a beeline for the exit. The doors are closed. I'm like, please let me off. I don't care if Nick is coming with me or not. I'm off that plane, not for me. Hysterically crying. They let me off the plane, thank God. And then, I collect myself. I get up to the little desk and I'm like, hi, I'm so sorry. Like I had a little anxiety moment in there. Like I just need to rebook my plane. And she was like, you're not getting on a plane unless like you're medicated. Like that was bad back there. And I was like, okay. Um, and then I'm like, oh, by the way, like we have a checked bag underneath the plane. Can we grab that? And she's like, oh, like, no, you're just going to have to get it when your new flight lands in Newark. And then Nick's like, baby, our wedding presents are in that suitcase. So I'm like, so anyway, so that's like, whatever. We get back to the hotel and I'm still not feeling well. I'm going to my default setting of calling 911. And I'm like, if you come here to get me, do I have to go on a stretcher like through the hotel? And they're like, yes. And I was like, okay, I'd like to cancel the ambulance. I Ubered to like this like miniature hospital across from like, I don't know, the strip in Las Vegas. And I'm completely having a meltdown. They sedate me and then it's still not hitting me. So my stepdad goes, hit her again. So at this point, I can't walk. I have to be wheeled through the airport. I can't keep my eyes open. I'm still having a freak out like while this is happening because because I'm like, why can't I stand? Why can't I see? I'm making myself stay awake so I don't die. And at this point, I also have like claustrophobia and a fear of being trapped. So my stepdad's like, don't worry, I booked you the exit row seats. Um, and then I'm getting wheeled on the airplane and they're like, you can't sit in an exit row because you're clearly not willing or able to help in case of an emergency. So we're going to have to move you back there, like away from your family. And I grabbed the flight attendant's hands and I was like, you have to help me. I'm so scared right now. I have to be next to either my husband or my mom. Yeah. So anyway, that was the longest 5 hour flight of my life. And it's a lot worse than I'm describing it, but it's so nice to be able to like sit here and laugh about it because that was like probably like I would have been viral if somebody captured that. That was bad. But oh my gosh. Okay. We did it, guys. What should my catchphrase be? Stay iconic, besties. Until next episode. I love you. Bye.